Hello, Jackie. Welcome. It's good to see you today. Traditionally, we're going to talk today about hypnotherapy. Traditionally, as we know, normally you'd see clients in a face-to-face situation. But with COVID-19, we've all had to work and live in different ways. So I'd like to ask you, can hypnotherapy work remotely? So, for example, over Zoom?
Hi, Ellie. Yes, and to be honest, it's just as effective as working in person with the client. The internet and video conferencing and stuff has just really opened up the world. So why should therapists limit themselves to those in their local area? I think it's lovely. And to place those limits, it seems a bit outdated. So, let's use the technology and get out there to more people.
So do you want to tell me some of the ways that it can be particularly effective?
I think it's nice for the client because they're in their own space, so they're always going to be more comfortable doing work in their own home, where they feel safe and physically comfortable. When they come to a treatment room, although my treatment room is lovely, they may feel anxious or a little bit self-conscious of coming into an official workspace, I guess. And plus the fact, most people, their issues have developed in their own little world. So it makes sense that we try and make the positive changes in their world as well. One of the other benefits is that people haven't got the travel time. Everybody's so busy now that it can save a huge amount of traveling to actually get to appointments. They can just quickly slip it in at a convenient point, and so that makes life a bit easier.
Yeah, and as you say, you can work with clients all over the world, so that's wonderful. So it gives people the opportunity to work with you wherever they are, and that is marvelous. So do you want to give me some examples of situations where you work with people, perhaps people who've been in challenging situations and you found it effective or helpful for them?
Yeah, I think I'll say, coming back to that point that you just made, in therapy in particular, I think it's so important to choose a therapist that suits you, someone that you really have an excellent sort of energy match with. And that person may not live in your village, they may not live in this country. So that's one of the other benefits of working via Zoom. So I guess as an example, I was working with a guy recently who he was actually visiting Essex. So he came in and had a session here, but we decided we needed some follow-up sessions. So we worked via Zoom because he's actually in Suffolk. So he would have needed sort of a 90-minute round trip to get to me and back to come and have a session. So that worked really well, and the outcome was no less effective, the fact that we'd worked via Zoom. He did have a little bit of noisy traffic at one point outside his house, but that it didn't interfere at all. Another one, I had a lady a few weeks ago, and she basically just got herself into a right pickle. When you just get to that point where you can't see your way forward. And I just happened to have, like a little slot in an afternoon where I could fit her in. So rather than her having to travel to me, I was just like, okay, just, let's just do it. And it totally sorted her head out for her. And she even remembered, whilst we were doing the session, she remembered a little business venture that she'd thought about over a year ago and hadn't done anything about. So that sort of came back to her. So she's now planning for her future.
That's a wonderful side benefit then, really. And I guess when you're working with clients, you never know what's going to come up or what sort of healings or developments are going to arise out of the work you do.
Yeah, and the way that I work with the hypnotherapy, I do what's called an emotional detox at the beginning of each session. And because I work unscripted, and content free, whatever comes up from their emotional detox, that's where we will work. So often when they come in and they think it's maybe an anxiety issue, it may be that it's self-esteem or confidence that is actually really holding them back. So it's always interesting to see what comes out of the emotional detox so that we can go, you know, a bit deeper and more effectively and work out what the real problems are.
And that's really interesting. And putting you on the spot a bit here, Jackie, how do you actually know when someone comes out of that detox, what the problem is, whether it's a confidence or anxiety or some other issue? How do you tell?
I will just ask them for a little bit of feedback. So I'll ask them whether they found an emotion or a particular sort of sensation that stood out for them. And then we work with sometimes with kinetic shift to actually clear that for them, because if that sits in the body, that can hold them back. So it's always nice to be able to, just go in and deal with it when it appears.
Do you want to tell listeners or viewers what kinetic shift is?
Okay, so kinetic shift is a type of hypnotherapy. And it's, for me, it feels a bit like energy work for healing. And it just means that we can clear things that come up. It's about, when you spike the emotion, it's easier to clear it. So with the client, when they experience, and it may be, you know, they may be tearful, they may be really anxious. When that comes up, we can actually physically lift things and release them from the body. There's a few other bits involved, but it's sort of a fast form of hypnotherapy. It's lovely to work with.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it's kind of clearing them of that negativity or that sort of emotion that's not good for them.
Yeah. And once you clear it, their perspective will change. So they will see things differently.
That must be very rewarding work to do. Tell me, Jackie, obviously there are lots of hypnotherapists out there. What is it about the work you do which you feel is special, or what you feel you can offer a client in particular?
Oh gosh, well, I do a lot of work with people with IBS and digestive problems, and I've got 19 years background in nutritional therapy and food intolerances. So there's that side of things. I bring in other tools to it. So my hypnosis weight loss package also includes nutritional guidance and support there. I've also, 19 years in this business, you don't, especially with the healing background, you do a lot of sort of spiritual work. You do a lot of development on yourself, but also, different spiritual studies. So I like to think that they're probably my sort of, my key talents. Helping people. I love seeing people move forward with their lives. I love seeing them be the best person they can be, and just do the things that they enjoy. And when they do that, they find that contentment as well.
Yes, that must be a lovely part of your work. Well, thank you, Jackie. That's been really interesting. Before we finish, is there anything else you'd like to share or add?
No, just that, I say it's literally 19 years this month that I've been in business, and I still just love, even when I'm working with the nutrition, I still get really excited when I can work out the puzzle of what's going on for people, and just being able to move them forwards so that they have a more fulfilling life. I just love it. Long may it last.
That is lovely. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie.